We're playing the Stanley Parable right now. I'm just adjusting my time for this game. Okay. I'm just adjusting the time. Hang on. Before we get so, can I say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. A lot of people don't take this step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. What? That's how I know that you care about the experience, you're paying attention. I don't even have any no way if these times you're set are correct. Tell you, I'll make you a deal. What's the deal? What's the deal? Since you've been so corrupted, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. What? Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. I'm so confused. Oh God. It doesn't stop. I'm beginning to get that it doesn't stop. I thought I had to restart the entire game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
Damn.
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley was happy? I wouldn't be happy. I mean, look at that desk.
One day,
There's
something
nothing.
very peculiar happened.
It's not even coffee.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This
Maybe it's a day off.
Isolation. Something
It's gotta
was
be a day
very
off.
clearly wrong.
It's a federal
Shocked,
holiday.
Frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Can I answer the phone? Why is his desk so bare? There's the coffee cup. I hate Mondays. There's nothing decorative about his desk. Alright. I left my room.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
All their computers are off. I think it's a day off work. Whose computer is this? What does it say on that screen right there? Looks like there's some sort of download happening. What's this person doing? It has like an email up. Can I go through these doors? Why can't I go through the 420 door? There we go. I can actually open the doors. It'd be so funny if this story was on a holiday. I swear to God it is on a holiday. I can just open... Oh, someone spilled their coffee and then clean that shit up? That's nasty. Who does that? Can I move these cabinets? I hate Mondays. Why is there a ladder in there? Can I just close the door? Can I close this door? Nope.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nah.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
What's over there? That door's open. 4B9.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth
Can I
admiring.
look outside?
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Where's the coffee maker? Right there. Can I make myself coffee?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
Yeah.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Why not?
Really
I mean,
worth it.
They're taking a break, so I should take a break too. A long break.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I guess I'll go here.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ah. Okay. Ah, I can't go back this way? Are you kidding me? God damn. Oh.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Meeting schedule. What's today? Who's Franz? Rest in peace, Franz? Do not alter without consulting the whiteboard manager. Can I erase this? This box is too small? What? Group planning? Cabal? Well, mergers? Or broke Wednesdays? What? Financial panic meeting? Boss's inspection? Legal? Question mark? What's going on? Oof. Oof. 20 things you love most about your boss? I don't think I can even come up with one. Broom closet. Oh, I can go in the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Can I jump?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
This is paper. Can't even read that paper.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Yay.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Damn.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
This is me with my nightmares all the time.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
Are we normal?
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Are we okay? Nope, we're still here. God damn it.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I?
Oh my God.
And everything went black.
Oh. We died, I think. We died from an anxiety attack.
Of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, For just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
What?
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
What?
She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
She just turned and ran? I thought she was gonna call the ambulance. Thought she was gonna call the ambulance. Like, come on. She just turned and ran. She's like, that abnormal motherfucker, I don't want his abnormalcy infecting me. I'm too normal. I need to protect my normalcy. Okay, I'm back here now.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Fine,
What could it
I'll
mean?
follow the story.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Can't open that door. Okay, so we're back here.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
Target
find an answer
demographic
there.
teenagers? Stripes? Requires more secondary research? Pie? The stock market is somewhat here. Telephone directory. We have our own new product, graphs about things and money. Bi-quarterly post review. Find teenagers who put in the teenage demographic, big net, some sort of child trap. Child trap? Throw something in the ideas bin. A lot of percentage. Space between the teenagers. Size of the demographic. Goddamn. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Going to my boss's office then. Executive bathroom. Can I wash my hands? Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Money crisp. What is this? Business time? There's no one here. Panda with a gun to its head. Nice. Can I use this? Oh! Oh, I can! What? What? What's this? Can I pick these up? I'm using the elevator. Okay. Going up. Going up the elevator. I don't like how the elevator shakes. It reminds me of my apartment's elevator. Currently. At least there's no noises. But I don't like the shaking. Shakens. Ugh. At least we got the music to cover up any screeching as the elevator moves up. How far up are we going? This is taking a long time. Should I press the button again? What? We're back here? What do you mean? What do you mean we're back here? We're back here. What about we? What if we go down? Okay, what if we go down? We'll try going down. Does this elevator only like shake and play music, no, regardless of which button I press, and I just stay in one area? God damn, it just like legitimately just shakes you and you get to listen to elevator music, that's all. That's all this elevator does. Ugh. What about closing the curtains? There's too much light coming in. How about that plan?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Can I drink his alcohol? Immediate alcohol.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
What the fuck? Why is there a warehouse connected to this office? That's where the fireplace was. I don't like this. Now we got another elevator. I'm gonna go up. I can't go up, I can only go down. Now we're actually moving down.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh. What? What does that mean? Huh? What the fuck does this mean?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I guess we'll go there. We'll go through the mind control facility. What is this? What is that? Can I just press this button? Can I go back? Huh? There's like a gate right here. Alright, I guess I'll press this button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Sure. Sir? Oh. There's a computer desk.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Someone was fired. Who was fired?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
What's going on? What's going on? Oh.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terror.
I need it to brighten up. I can barely see stuff in here. See. Can we turn up the brightness?
Power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I guess I'll have to go to the facility power. Mind controls idle await an input.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
So am I supposed to hit off, I guess? I guess I'll follow through with the story. What happens now?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Am I really happy though? I don't know. I don't think I was happy. I wanted to rebel through everything. Apparently I beat the game. Got an achievement that said beat the game, but I don't feel like that's beating the whole game. Oh, I'm back where I am.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content? Fuck yeah. Let's go out over here.
New content?
Yeah.
What does that mean, new content?
Means new content. New content. Yeah. Where am I going? I want to see all this new content. What you got for me, game? Oh. What's this? Why is there office chairs over here? Storage?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Really?
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a
That's so
reimagining
cool.
of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Nice.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
I didn't know this came out in 2013.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I hope so. Are we going down?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's see the new content. Is it a better coffee machine?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
White walls. The jump circle. What?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
Jumps remaining? I can now jump. I just jump? I just jump? What? Okay, I'm gonna complete my jumps that I need to do. Oh, I got 0 jumps remaining. What? Was I supposed to use them somewhere? Did I just use all my jumps? Fuck.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
I hope so. Come on.
Goodness.
I used all my
elevator.
jumps too.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
What? What's this? Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
They said there's 1,000 endings? What? 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 Okay, we're in a different area now. 427.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
No thanks, man. We're in a new area.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
What happens if I go through here? What? This section's all new. Fine, I'll go through the vent.
Never mind. You're not a dork.
Fine, I'll go through the vent, like you said. There's coffee in here? Whoa. I like went into the other room and I was like, oh god, it's the same setup for the last 20 times. Never mind, I want something new. I want the vent. Whatever surprise he has. What surprises you got for me, huh?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be.
Are you putting me back?
So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. Oh. You still got some office supplies here. Oh. This is actually very nice.
I call it the Memory Zone.
The Memory
It's where
Zone?
I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
That's so cool. Oh. This is very pretty. Oh, I can move.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
This looks like a postcard shop. Buy on pressurized gas. I guess PlayStation did ruin it. Smile because it happened. The Stanley Parable. This is actually a very nice house. A $1 bill. What's different about it? Go outside, don't play for 5 years? What? Unachievable, it's impossible to get this achievement. That's cool. It's like a museum. Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite memories too. Dying and having someone wake up. The going outside achievement is easy to get. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. In love and memory of little Stanley. It was a hamster? Wait, is this game based off a hamster?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
Aww.
A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
This is cool though. It's downstairs in the basement. The original remake. Person of the Year. Oh, there's the buttons. But what's in the basement? I can't open the basement.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Damn.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Whoa.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh, damn.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
Unfunny?
Funny?
Is this real?
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Is that review real? Is all these reviews real? Like, can we actually fact check it? It's just bad reviews.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
Aww.
Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
But was Stanley a mouse that they made this game? Oh, wow.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
What? We have a skip button?
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue. And oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But
yes.
That's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Damn.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
God.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
What?
Oh,
What
my
happened?
goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
A week?
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
Oh, God.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself
I gotta
clearly.
skip him again. Oh. Is he no longer here? What happened? Friend? Friend, are you here? It's beeping. Why is that beeping? Oh my god, that's annoying. Pressing the button again.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say,
Oh my god. Did you not notice I was there? How long have I been gone?
the end is never the end, is never the end, is never
Oh
the
my God.
end, is never the end, is
Is
never
he okay?
the end, is never 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 the end,
He's
is
not
never
okay.
the end, is never
Chat,
the
he's not
end,
okay.
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the
Is he okay?
end, is
I
never
don't
the
think he's
end,
okay.
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never.
I don't know where I am. We got some leaks in the building. What? What happened? There's no sunlight. Am I just gonna keep skipping time where... Oh, this is kind of nice. I kind of like this. Got some growth here. Come on, trees. Bust out a wall for me. What? What happened? What happened to the trees? It's actually kind of nice. I don't like that noise. Look at that! Made it outside. In the desert? I'm in the desert now. Can I skip? Nope. Okay, I understand why the loading screen is the end is never. I'm back here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Where's my skip
Stanley
button?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Can I go through other areas of the game? New content? New content. Hold on.
When
I'm
Stanley
drawn
came
to
a
my
set of
previous
two
decision.
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I went through here.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking, this is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Are you talking about my wife?
She's been waiting.
Last chance for her? We can go in this dark room. Okay.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I picked up the phone. Hello? What happened? Did I just die? What? Where the fuck am
Oh,
I?
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What the fuck?
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
That's fucked
I'm
up.
trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, play 427, press circle on your controller.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
God damn.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
I got filing cabinet
The thought
instead.
excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
I don't have any kids. Said I don't even have a wife.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Did you tell you love her? Damn.
But there is no answer.
What?
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
What if I refuse?
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. and I tried again.
Please
And Stanley
die.
pushed
What?
a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a
Please
button.
die. What?
And I tried.
Wow. Damn.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
What? This is different dialogue.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your
Can I
enemy,
land
really,
down
I'm
there
not.
and
I
leave?
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please.
You're a liar.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why,
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Okay.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The 2 of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
What's the solution?
What do we want? What are we looking for?
What is this?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
It's really pretty. It's super pretty. Whoa. Super trippy. Is this a mind control room? I have no idea, but it's super, super pretty. It reminds me of that that interactive museum that I went to with my boyfriend. Look at all those really pretty lights. Look at all that. Does this become an eye? It's super trippy here.
No, wait. Where are you going?
You want me to go back in the room? Oh.
Right. Where were we?
What? Green? Now green. No, there's bread. Whoa, every time I leave, it gets cooler. I don't know if this is the mind control room, but it's so pretty. It's like lava lamps. Super pretty. Yes, every time I try to leave, it changes a little bit. Okay. Let's see if I leave this on. Ooh, pretty. I like this room. Someone said it's like it's alive and trying to trap you. I mean, it's doing a good job of trapping me in this room. It is really nice here. I want to see some more cool stuff that room can do. Whoa. Am I gonna be eaten by something? All the colors are now transforming into that. Ooh. Spacey. Okay, okay. Oh no, it started again! Oh my god. This room's super trippy. I love this room though. Best room in Stanley Parable. Let's see. Did it change again? Alright, I gotta leave. Gotta leave.
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
We're gonna fall down the stairs?
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Oh my god!
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Oh my god. If I go to the bottom of the stairs, is he gonna say something? Fine, we'll go back to the room to see how he is. Oh wow, the room is still going.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Oh my god. This is so much fun. I love this room. I should really kill myself though.
No. What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
He's so frustrated. Last stack of stairs. Okay, I'm ready to drop. 1, 2, 3.
No!
Oh, I didn't die.
Thank God.
I lived.
You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? No. No. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Alright, I'm gonna go jump off again.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
You don't know that?
you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Fine, I'll go back to the room one more time, and then we're gonna die.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
That's not true. Happiness is found anywhere, even in death.
No, perhaps not.
Is he gonna put like a guardrail on the staircase? I'm walking much slower.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game?
Damn.
That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
I don't know, man.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Damn, the guilt
It
trips.
looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
What if I go back to the room and get his hopes up again? I'm such an evil person. Alright, I'm gonna go back to the room, get his hopes up. He said this one's on my choice.
Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me? I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I still thought that was possible.
It's pretty cool. Man, I'm moving so much slowly. What's this? Didn't see this anywhere before. Here we go, up and up and up. Bam!
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Oh my god.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'll go to the new
good.
contact.
You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay. What kind of exciting things do you have to show me? Narrator. What if the narrator is just like Cube? He's just extracting energy from the coworkers, sucking the life out of them.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable. and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The
I agree.
original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Look at that, we got new water bubblers.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and
They use a
long-term
crow for their
franchising
laptops now.
potential.
New content out, new contact part 2 is in. Old plus busted, new hotness. Boring sections of chart, cool red section of chart. They're back 2 doors. New mug, new mug. I mean, their workplace did get upgraded very nicely.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The prequel to Stanley Parable is the sequel to the Stanley Parable. Oh, that's weird. New content. New features. Gotta go Expo Hall 2.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
I guess so.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's
Jim.
have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
I'm now
Just
Jim.
play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust.
Jim.
Whoa, 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 hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim. Playing Jim. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim. Jim.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Collectibles? We could go get a collectible. The button that says Jim. That's Jim. A whole new office. Collectibles. Free, new, and easy trophy. Get it here. Pull the lever, receive your trophy, no more steps. This works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's a... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Why is there a truck back here? Am I gonna get run over?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Collect them all. Can you find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Wow. Okay. I just got one.
God,
All right.
It really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Infinite hole, free infinite hole. We'll go to the infinite hole. Now I gotta collect trophies? Alright. Infinite.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Alright, well, I gotta find my reward. Is it in the hole?
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
I'm just going down the hole.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
Why? I thought
Maybe
this
do it
was
on
an
the
endless hole.
sooner rather than later
Will I
spectrum
die?
of things.
Am I just gonna die? We're gonna die. We're definitely gonna die. You said this is an endless
Okay,
hole?
Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
I knew
Is
it.
it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't
Hey,
an
guys, how you
astonishingly
doing?
deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well,
Thank you for
that sort of
following me,
depends
by the
on
way.
your definition of
Oh, shit.
infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Damn, the narrator getting really defensive there.
Look, things got a little heated there.
Damn.
I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and
Why is there a
agree
bunch
to
of
just
cigarettes
call
down
the
here?
hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Alright.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Okay. Mostly infinite hole. Yes, this is mostly. Where's my collectible? I thought I was supposed to get, like, the Stanley doll. Where's my Stanley doll? What the hell is my Stanley doll, huh? I want my Stanley doll. Where's my Stanley doll? I only got one. So I went to the collectibles up here, and they gave me a Stanley doll, and I have 1 out of 6 Stanley dolls. It looks just like him. Maybe I just have to keep coming back here. Oh, I don't think I could go back in there. But I got 1 out of 6 Stanley dolls. Looks just like him, but they're smaller. I am here. Number 5. This map. Free trophy. Merch. What else we got around here? The reassurance bucket. We'll go to the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
There
You
it
see,
is.
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
Can I
As long
take
as
it
you
now?
hold onto the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting.
Give me the
You may
bucket.
even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
It's
Come
the
on,
best solution.
give it a try.
I'm gonna give it a try. What?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay, I'm keeping the bucket though. I know I got a bucket now.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Okay. What else I can get? What about this area?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration.
It
like
sure
balloons.
does.
But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
What? What? Thanks, man. No, it's an Alta.
Or actually,
Posters.
maybe I should have gone with... No,
Yeah.
I've made my decision.
No,
We're
you should
moving
go with the
on.
other one.
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's
Ah.
true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Ah. Alright. Should I go back to the trophy? I got a bucket now. What am I gonna do with this bucket? Can I get my trophy now? Does it need a bucket somewhere? Huh. I just have a random ass bucket now. This has to be used somewhere. The jump circle. Nice.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
Why can't I get more jumps?
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
What? What? I spent all my jumps? What about the exit? Okay, let's go to the exit. Oh, the exit is blocked off? This is a long
All
ass
right.
staircase.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
For sure. Someone's work bag is here. Oh. What's this?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Alright.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
With my reassurance bucket. I get 36 jumps.
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
I get a bucket?
Sort of. Okay, never mind.
Hey, that's the
Hold
trophy
on.
I need.
Let me do a different arrangement.
No, give me back.
Okay,
Hey,
yes.
give me back that
Yes,
trophy.
This is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
What's up with
Who
the...
am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted
give me
more
something.
than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect.
He's just gonna add
ahead.
like some coffee cups on
Take
the
a
table,
look.
I bet. Are we just gonna go inside the room? What? Alright then. How you guys feeling about Stanley Parable 2 so far? Like the teasers, the investors collection and whatnot.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay, let's see if
Stanley
there's any...
worked for a company in a big building where he was
got the
employee
balloons.
number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a
Well, at
key.
least we've got decorations
Orders
now.
came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him
They got the
instructions,
decorations.
call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by?
Whoa.
He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Am I almost there yet? I'm almost there? I think I'm almost there. To type something in. What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I get the reassurance bucket? Give me the This is my
Stanley
reassurance.
picked up the bucket.
It's always good to have the reassurance bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We're gonna go right. I'm a rebellious person.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I'm my
But
rebellious
Stanley
bucket.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It is.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Okay, we'll go back to the meeting room.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I got my bucket.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom
Me and the
closet has
closet
the gall
got
to
beef.
imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Okay, I put the bucket down.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay, I'll go with my bucket. I've got a feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely purse. Who the fuck is this? Oh,
You
the trophy.
found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Yeah, look at that. We got a figurine. Okay. Well, this elevator actually work now? Or is this gonna shake? How many more fingerings to go? We got 4 more fingerings to go. Oh god. The elevator doesn't work.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
I entered everyone. 2845.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Got my reassurance. Oh, yeah, I got
Another
that one.
miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands?
Mini
Stanley
stands?
figs? Or
Stanley figs?
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I
Stanlerines?
like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Look at that, we got 3 out of 6 of them. Is that if I complete the whole game by him telling me what to do? Is that how I get the Stanlerines? We got a lot of Stanlerines. We gotta get more. We got 3
The
more to
elevator
go.
raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Whoa, what the hell? Sparks are flying.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
No. Be over here.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Really?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Oh. Really? Or am I hydrating and stretching? No, but I'm just stretching now. Oh. Everyone put your hands up and stretch. Big stretches. Ugh, I feel like I need to crack my back.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and
Everyone
the
got
bucket
their
inched
water?
closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley
Can I
thought to
escape?
himself, and he sort of kicked himself for
I'll
wasting
wedge
so
the
much
bucket in
time
between.
carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
My bucket will save me. What?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
What?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
What?
It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Welcome to the grand exhibit of the bucket. This is the death of my bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like
25
this
buckets.
and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
The stress bucket an analogy. So you put your worry in, negative forecasting, negative thinking, and lack of reassurance. Vulnerability, strength of the bucket, and then coping strategies is the whole. Rest and relaxation, do something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. Stress is equal to level of water in a bucket. Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which was in the medieval era, was so powerfully learned that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. We got a cave drawing of the bucket too.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hand and bucket. And am I going to kill myself? Whee! Oh. What just happened?
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let's stand.
I know, I can't believe I got the bucket killed either.
Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their...
I'm escaping. I'm escaping with my bucket. Look at that. Where's my bucket, though?
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
There's my bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
I got my bucket now. I saved myself in the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, where's my reward? Where's my collectible? There will be a reward for finding them all. How can we find them? Bottom text. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to regular office ambiances or local audio sources used in a way of audio microphones, also known as directional mic, a mic which picks up sound from a particular area. Analysis of recordings allowed me to try getting the source of the strange noise. Data shows and all that like it's coming from a dark place behind a very warm place. I also picked up what it looks to be reverbance off a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads? Wouldn't you like to know? Damn. Weird findings. Trust the completionist instinct. Mission status. Inside of the sequel, a large room, lots of boxes. Stairs, something to do with stairs, somewhere both red and blue. Is this some kind of game? There must be a point to this. Okay, so it, 5 debris, just take it from me. Gotta collect them all. Oh, so it tells me where they are. Warehouse access plan. Produce 1 plant to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct new... What? Chris's remains? Who's Chris? Let's look at this PowerPoint. Small foam objects has appeared in the office. We have synergized resources. There are many questions. No memo for management. Okay. What else? How can you spawn one? What makes them float in the air? Who took pictures of them? Fig leaves are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room. Oh. Thank you, good luck. So, let me look back in here. A large room, lots of boxes, stairs, something to do with stairs, somewhere both red and blue. Got my bucket.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I think it's the stairs. Hell, yeah, we got one.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay, so we got one here. Let's see if we can keep going this way. What happens?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these.
Yes,
He
it
held
is.
the bucket close, yet felt
Got the
none of
reinsurance
its
bucket.
familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh,
Floating.
gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must
Where is-
find it.
Yeah,
Far
where
off in
is
the
my
distance
bucket?
now, he heard
Right here.
it calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by
Whoa,
one bucket
whoa,
after
whoa.
the next. None of them
Buckets.
were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
Where was it?
The real bucket was inside of him all along.
What?
It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
The bucket was inside me this whole time.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Fuck.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
She has a
But
bucket.
on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of
He had no bucket.
course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She backflipped all the way to work. She didn't run away this time. She backflipped with her bucket in hand, confident that her life is the best with her bucket. The best bucket of all buckets of all the buckets we have seen.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
I'll take my bucket as always.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm entering it.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley
that?
did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I'm getting off here.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
What?
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
What do you mean?
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
What? Oh, I gotta go through here now? Where am I going? Where am I going with my bucket? Is this a
Now
bucket?
then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right?
What?
This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
Alright, chat, I need your help on this one. Is this a
Item
bucket?
1. Is this a bucket?
Is it a bucket, yes or no? Gotta make a decision here. This can't be a bucket. I don't think it's a bucket.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes? Yes?
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What?
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
For sure. For sure. Has to be a bucket.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor.
No, it's a bucket.
It's an enormous machine that tills the earth.
No,
I thought
it's a
this was
bucket.
gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Okay.
Is this a bucket?
Yes. Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
What? Are we playing reverse psychology?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both.
What?
Gotcha.
But what do you mean it's... What do you mean it's both?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
It is.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
No. Everything is a bucket.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Yes, you are a bucket. Yes,
Stanley,
yes.
I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart.
No, it's
I
not.
can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game.
No!
Okay, here we go.
No. No more buckets?
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Because
was
everything's a
everything
bucket.
a bucket?
Yes.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket?
Yes.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Everything is a bucket. Everything is now a bucket. I need my trusty bucket.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Alright. I grab my trusty bucket.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him
416
that
had
the
the answer, I
employee
think.
lounge was simply the place to be. And here
Where's
it was.
416?
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
411 and 416. 416 has the answer. Right. All clues provided by employee 416.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
What is this with the... Yep, no, I already did this.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotion, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Me in the bucket again. We're gonna go to the mind control room again. We'll see if there's like Stanley fakes there. Give me a Stanley fake.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Alright.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way.
There's a
and
five?
the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
What? Can I press the emotion controls?
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place.
What if I put on, though?
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
What?
Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
What?
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken,
I like the owl.
this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
I like that ending a lot. Me and the bucket watching some birds. That was a really nice ending. Oh my god, I'm back here again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
For 16.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
For 16. For 18. For 19. For 21. For 17. For 16. Where 16 has everything figured out.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
A large room, lots of boxes. What's that?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Nah, I think I have to go earlier in the game. I think I have to reach the red door again. Alright, let me go
All
grab
of his
the bucket
co-workers
first.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up
there
there
it
I
is.
need
There
you
it
to
is.
do.
That's what I need to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
That's what
alarmed
I
him,
have
of
to
course,
do.
because buckets can't talk. But
How do I
Stanley
get
chose
there?
not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
How the fuck do I get over there?
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
We got lots of boxes here.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
I do kind of want to see it. I want to see the life that they have together with the bucket.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
What? $4.27. My apartment looks so much better. Where's my bucket, though? There he is. There's my bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Plus. Okay,
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
There's my bucket again. Take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Damn.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
That's not true. It's my emotional support bucket. That's what.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Damn.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings.
What?
The bucket. No,
What?
No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks.
Are we
What's
having
wrong
sex
with
with
me?
a bucket?
I don't understand.
The bedroom's door
Perhaps
open.
if I had the bucket, this would
Oh
be
God.
less confusing.
The bedroom.
Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
I'm gonna have sex with a bucket? Look at these romantic candles. And then I get to see the room. What? What?
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley? So the narrator's getting jealous of my bucket. Maybe he should get his own bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
I'm gonna rebel against him. I don't got a bucket this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
It was
But
okay.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Now I can go down here without the bucket and not have to be stopped.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Alright then. I guess I'll take my
All
book
of his
again.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Wait, where's
simply
my
missed a
bucket?
memo.
Where's my bucket? I can't find my bucket anymore. There's no more buckets. What do you mean there's no more buckets?
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely
I don't think he restarted the game over because I didn't see my bucket. I need my bucket. There we go.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from... Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yep.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo
What's
lift.
this? There's a platform right here, though. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Yes. Yes, look at this. I'm getting my figurine.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlarines. None of us can.
Does that mean I can jump from here? Probably not. Whoa. Alright. We ended up back here. I don't know where here is. What is this?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
Narrator?
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
What?
This is my golden ticket.
Sure is.
But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
Camporata? What? What?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself. And a good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket. A bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes, go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Alright, I'm gonna unplug the phone this time.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone?
Because I
Were
can.
you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
What?
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny."
What?
Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm not practicing it, no. Am I dead now?
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
I am so confused.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along,
God.
let's head back.
Okay. Oh, I can't jump off now. I gotta hear his jokes for real.
I can
Can't
feel
just
it.
kill myself.
This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept.
Oh,
the
God.
king of comedy. That's what you'll call me.
No, thank you.
Goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke.
Oh,
I'll
man.
figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
He's trying too much, man. I'm just taking my bucket back to my office.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I guess.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think
Nope.
this was all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Damn.
Here we go. You ready?
No.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
Oh, fuck. We're not watching that
Surely
shit again,
that
are
will
we?
help me improve my...
No, please don't. Please don't put me through the instruction video.
You love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison.
What?
Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how
God
unabashedly
damn.
in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame.
Pale with shame?
Pale.
No.
What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this.
Oh, God.
I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's
All right.
what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos.
Okay.
Let's see.
You go watch those instruction videos. I'll be up on top of the ceiling here. Alright. I think I've played enough of Stanley Parable today, and I'm done listening to the narrator's voice now. Ugh. This was a long stream, but thank you for everyone who's stayed to watch, and thank you for everyone who's came in to say hi or just to talk with me. Hope you guys have a decent day, and adios.